Hello everyone, I'm Prerna from Cognixia and I represent the enterprise team here. I welcome everyone present on the webinar today. Thank you so much for sparing time. I'm hoping for a great time that you have here learning about the topic today. I'll quickly go and introduce about Cognixia for a minute. Post I hand over the session to our speaker today. Cognixia, as you must already know, is one of the leading digital talent transformation organizations. We cater to over 45 countries over the globe and have 450 plus customers across the world. We have trained more than 1.3 lakh professionals on various digital technologies. Also, we have got a pool of industry veterans of more than 7,000 in number who work with us as SMEs, consultants, and instructors. We are authorized training partners with bodies like Red Hat, Automation Anywhere, ITIL, ISC Square, and we are also Microsoft Silver Microsoft partner. Moving further, I'll brief you about the courses that we have at Excellence Into. Flashing in front of you are certain areas that we have great expertise upon. One of them, cloud computing, you learn a little more about one of the platforms today. There's more to this, which includes Internet of Things, RPA, microservices, MLAI, DevOps, and further on. Webinars have been an integral part of our offerings for our customers all through the lockdown period, and we are committed to continue that and benefit you more with that. We have come up with a specific offering that's named as Masterclass by Cognixia, which happens to be a full day session with extensive hands-on and great learning. We have recently completed a session, and in front of you on screens are the upcoming schedules of the sessions. We have one very great session coming up that's on 25th of April, and that's on machine learning introduction. Further on, we have something on Azure IoT, sounds pretty interesting topic to learn about. Then we have React.js, something that's on extreme demand in the market these days, plus AWS as well. We can also help you with complete full-fledged live instructor-led virtual classes. These could be on topics of data science, machine learning, AWS, Azure, Python, and microservices and Spring Boot. We also do virtual sessions on ITIL v4. There's a lot more to offer. In case you have any further queries, you can drop in a note to webinar@cognixia.com, or you can simply visit our website, drop in your queries, and someone from our team will get back to you and counsel you about more courses. Or the best way for corporates who have logged in to the webinar today would be to reach out to your L&Ds, because we are partners with all the organizations that are present on the webinar today. I'll quickly mention, in case you are facing any kind of audio or visual issues, we will request you to rejoin the session, because we have already started the broadcast and pretty much we are on time. In case you still keep on facing the challenges, we would apologize for that, and you don't have to worry, because the session will be recorded and the recording will be shared with you over a certain time of period. You'll have to allow us some time. The same applies for certificates as well. For everyone who attends the session end to end, you will receive a participation certificate from Cognixia for this particular webinar. I'm sure most of you would have the news that the PM has addressed a while back, and the lockdown seems to be extending further. Hence, we have been urging our corporates and our clients to go virtual with the learning sessions and adapt to the e-learning platforms. It has got its own perk. I'm sure you would have been undergoing a lot of sessions already and would agree to a lot of things. From the stakeholder point of view, there can be report generations, there can be attendance monitoring, and a lot more things. From a user perspective, you get a streamlined training process with Cognixia. We also share recordings of all the sessions that you're a part of, plus the webinars. There can be reference materials, could be ebooks, could be soft copies of materials coming from our instructors, our SMEs, or could be recordings like I already mentioned. So yes, so I think we are ready to begin. In case you have any queries, feel free to drop in a note in the chat box, and we would be getting back to you towards the end of the session. There would be a small Q&A to help you with any kind of queries. I think I'm good, and Sanjay, you can take over from here.
Thank you, Prerna. Yeah, good morning, everyone. The first and foremost, thanks to everyone once again because you spared your precious time to attend this webinar. I know that it's going to be very useful for you. Okay, first of all, so as my colleague Prerna just explained about our company, Cognixia, and upcoming trainings, in this webinar, we are talking or we are taking an AWS topic. We are taking an intermediate level of topic. We are assuming that you have a little idea about cloud computing. But in case if you don't have idea or you are new to AWS, no worry, I'll try to explain you to fill the gap. In today's session, you would learn about storages with AWS. In this session, we are taking both AWS storages, concepts, and lab activities. Before the start of this webinar, I would like to share some facts that, for example, the duration of this webinar is approximately 90 minutes, and we are seeing that a large number of people joined this webinar, and it's obvious a lot of questions will be raised. But due to the time constraint, maybe it's not possible to answer immediately those questions in between. I would suggest you to drop an email, or you can write on chat box, or you may reach our support number to avoid a flow of session in the middle. This will not be possible to attend questions. So without consuming much time, let's start this session. First of all, I would like to give my short introduction. My name is Sanjay Sharma, and I'm a presenter for this webinar. By profession, I'm a subject matter expert, training and technology consultant, and instructor for various technologies. I have more than 20 years of experience in the field of corporate training, in project management, in business operations, and as a subject matter expert with reputed companies. My area of expertise in IT trainings with AWS cloud computing, cybersecurity, Red Hat Linux, and VMware data center virtualization, and TCP/IP networking. I have been delivered more than 100 corporate trainings in last 2 years, and I think this is sufficient for you to know about me to start this webinar. In addition, we are also considering that the attendees of this webinar could be beginners for the cloud computing, or you may have good experience in your current field. To start AWS or to make career in AWS, you should be good in TCP/IP networking. It is good. In addition, the system administration knowledge in Linux and Windows servers also required for better understanding. Okay, so now we need to focus on our learning path. So this is the agenda of the training today webinar. So first of all, talk about the cloud computing, what is cloud computing, what is AWS, and what is its scope. And later on, we'll talk about AWS global infrastructure, in which we'll tell you the presence of AWS. So means how the things are connected. Now, introduction with the AWS storages, services, and S3 features. So we are just going to take at least 2 labs. We'll start with the S3 labs, then we'll tell you that how we can host a static website without using a virtual machine or EC2 instances. Actually, the EC2 instances in AWS known as a virtual machine. So these virtual machines are known as EC2 instances. Then we'll talk about the versioning. If we have a time, we can take a few more topics. Okay. Now we come to our first point of agenda. So what exactly is cloud computing? We'll talk about it. When we ask this question, usually people have different meaning and different answers for it. Some say the cloud computing is a storage, and some say the cloud computing means leasing computer assets. So by seeing these understanding about cloud computing, I cannot say these answers are fully incorrect, but we are seeking a precise definition for cloud computing. Cloud computing is what cloud computing So we are just going to tell you. So here we go. The precise definition of cloud computing. The definition, according to the definition, the delivery of hosted services over the internet is termed as cloud computing. I repeat once again because this definition is very precise and very short. Delivery of hosted services over the internet is termed as cloud computing. And according to Amazon Web Services, cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of compute power, database storage, applications, and other IT resources through a cloud services platform via the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. So as per AWS, it is based on pay-as-you-go pricing model. The definition by AWS seems more close to me. Now we understand that the cloud computing is eliminating the task of hardware procurement, infrastructure maintenance, and its capacity planning. It means the cloud computing is providing developers and IT professionals to focus on their core tasks. Because of time restrictions, I'm only talking about, the definition of cloud computing here. We have the strong reasons to choose cloud computing, why we are choosing cloud computing. So why people are more inclined to the cloud platforms available we have. So, for example, the benefits of cloud computing I'm talking about here, such as flexibility, controlled capital expenditure, software updation, high availability, load balancers, auto scaling, global presence of AWS cloud infrastructure, data accessibility, security, disaster recovery, and easy to configure and monitor. So these are some benefits I do see. In our training programs, we will study all these topics in detail. Next is, in this slide, we are talking about the cloud computing service providers. Today, we see the number of cloud computing platforms available from various vendors. For example, AWS, Google Cloud, MS Azure, etc. Small, medium, even large businesses find some significant benefits to switch on cloud because of its low cost, high availability, and easy deployment of services. The big players of cloud computing like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, HP, Alibaba are making a huge investment in cloud computing, and AWS Web Services is a public cloud computing platform, and it is based on pay-as-you-go model. The scope of cloud computing. According to one report published, over 1 million cloud computing jobs will be announced by 2022. And as we know that because of this corona pandemic, now the people are looking for a kind of a solution which can be handled online. Am I right? And as per the Forbes, this industry will touch almost $160 billion in 2022. And as per the trend, the model adopted by companies shows that every company, whether it is a small or big, they will switch to cloud. Now, AWS is a major player, no doubt about it. AWS shares or AWS market share is huge, and I have no doubt about it. The total market share of AWS in public cloud market is approximately 62%, and AWS is number one cloud computing. And as per the market prediction for 2022, it is shown that still AWS is leading in cloud computing field. So there is many technical reasons to select AWS platform. For example, the large number of data centers are connected over the world. In addition, its dominance in many features, the features like configuration, monitoring, security, enterprise-friendly services. And it's open and flexible, and its reach is global. I'm talking about the AWS is accessible throughout the world from anywhere. I see many other plus points here to choose AWS, like certifications. Yes, certification of AWS are globally recognized. If you see the features of AWS, you find everything you need available to find everything available at your fingertips. Not only this, the AWS access is mobile friendly, means using a mobile platform, you can access AWS infrastructure, you can manage it. AWS also provide serverless cloud functions. In addition, you find databases, storages, and security services too on AWS. In the list of AWS features, the AWS Market is an online store where customers can search and buy softwares for business need. Okay, introduction to AWS cloud computing. The first will tell you about AWS. If you are absolutely new to AWS, then we'll talk about it. And then what is AWS free tier account and its benefit? So there's a major advantage I'm basically experiencing, that AWS was the first company that offered the free tier account on cloud computing platform. Next, AWS services which can see on AWS Management Console, means AWS Management Console is basically the first screen from where you can access and manage AWS cloud computing platform. AWS does support all three models, such as infrastructure, platform, and software as a service. So AWS also does support to three implementation models, like public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. In a last point, I'll try to explain you how AWS environment can be connected with your company's physical data center. One more thing, because of time constraint, I'm taking all these concepts in brief. In our training programs, we will be taking all these topics in details with best practices. AWS free tier account. I'll tell you, from where you can find all these links, but this is very simple. You can just go to the Google and just write AWS free tier. You'll get a link. So AWS provides a significant feature for learners to hands-on the Spirit platform. AWS free tier account. They provide you a free tier account. So it is absolutely free of cost for 1 year, for entire 1 year, but of course with some limitations. As you see the screen, you can open the AWS free tier page and see those limitations. So today, to demonstrate activities, we are going to use a free tier account. AWS free tier account sign-up process is very, very simple. The free tier account is designed to give you a hands-on experience, because of course you are learning AWS, and you would require actually access over AWS platform. That's why AWS just provides this the free tier account. AWS provides this excellent opportunity to businesses and individuals for testing and learning purposes. Now this is the first screen when you log in into AWS, and you just see the first screen, AWS Management Console. Once you log in a browser into AWS account, you would see the first screen. So this interface is known as AWS Management Console. You will explore this interface. You will see the list of services on this console, and you can find the number of services are there. Those services are grouped in the group, like the compute is a group, a satellite is a group, security, identity, and compliance. This is a group. Like it means all the services are grouped, and each group has a number of services. You can also utilize the search functionality here. This is the search functionality we have. We have the search box here. So you can utilize the search functionality to find appropriate service by its name. Okay. Next is hybrid cloud model. So I'm just trying to explain you how your public cloud, which is on AWS, can be connected with your own data center, your physical premises. Okay, so this is a kind of an example. And when you connect the physical data center with AWS cloud computing environment, it becomes hybrid cloud. So this slide explains AWS hybrid cloud architecture and how one physical data center is connected with AWS cloud. If you see here, because this is very interesting, if you see this model, it is a need of a future. All companies at present either working on their private data centers or they are using cloud platform as a public cloud. Only a very few companies are working on hybrid cloud model, and I see the scope of hybrid cloud model And this is a need for every company, whether the company is small or whether they are large in size. In order to create a hybrid cloud, candidate must have a knowledge of both AWS cloud environment and physical data center. But I'm not seeking any very in-depth knowledge because some of you are developers, some of you are network administrators, system administrators, or maybe are working on the quality field. So I personally see the scope of the professionals who have a knowledge over cloud computing, and I personally feel that you must have a little understanding about networking and system administration skill. Right now, you're taking. So these are the two sides of infrastructure. This is a physical infrastructure on premises, or you can say it's a physical data center. And left hand side, you can see this is your AWS infrastructure. So if you want to connect them, so we are using service like Direct Connect, or we can use the VPN connectivity to make connection between these two networks using internet. And this is quite safe because we are using the different kind of encapsulation and encryption techniques. So I'll tell you each and everything in detail in training. Okay, so this is the global infrastructure. As you know, the global infrastructure is a vast topic. So just clear the concept, I'll take it in brief. So if you see the word globe, you find some dots in different colors. Do you see these dots in different colors? I do one thing. I just give me a minute. I just do open a screen here. AWS global infrastructure. I'm taking a little time here to just open it. Yeah. So this is the very simple example I'm giving you here. Let's say, and I can zoom in so you can see it very clearly. Can you see it now? So this is a dynamic diagram here. So if you see the word globe, you can find some dots in different colors. So some dots are orange, sky blue, and purple color. The regions are in orange color. So these are regions. Can you see this? These are the purple color. So these are regions. So here in a small area, we can see 3 different regions in the United States of America. So regions are in orange color. What is the region? Regions are geographical locations. So they are created because they are separated or they are separate geographically. So regions are geographical locations, and every region is a separate geolocation. So this way, throughout the world, approximately 22 regions we can see in AWS infrastructure. Do you see? Yes. Here, like this is India. You can find we have only one region, and in Singapore we have one region. In Indonesia, right? So these are the regions. Okay, you can find. Just to keep in mind that all regions are in orange color, like here. These are the regions: Frankfurt, Paris, Spain. Okay, but we are just going back now. This is the next diagram I'm telling you. So I was talking about the North Virginia, Ohio, Singapore, London, Sydney. So these were regions. So I'm taking one region to explain you further what a region contains, what you can find within the region. So do you see the blue color dots? These are availability zones. So every region further distributed in availability zone. So every region has at least 2 availability zones. And I'm showing an example. In this region, we have three availability zones. What is an availability zone? Availability zone are basically the group of data centers. So these are the group of data centers. Let's say this is a region. This region can be in North Virginia. Let's say I'm just taking an example. And this region, let's say we have the three availability zones, and every availability zone is a group of data centers. And these group of data centers are further connected with some connectivity, and this connectivity is termed as POP, point of presence. So these are internally connected. So this way, each and every availability zone is connected through their data centers. So AWS provides services in more than 190 countries throughout the world, and AWS is using Zen hypervisor in their data center to manage hardware resources. Actually, Zen hypervisor. I'm coming again. Uh, uh, I'm just opening it. Zen hypervisor is uh, we normally install on data centers to manage hardware resources, to share hardware content or hardware resources. So AWS is using Xeon processor. Xeon is a kind of a microprocessor technology. AWS is using Xeon processors in their data centers to provide high performance service. I'll show you, means even a one core CPU, or you can say one virtual CPU, which is because one core contains two virtual CPUs. Using one virtual CPU, you can run a Windows server machine with the optimal performance. And further, I'll explain about the global infrastructure in training, because this is not a small topic, it's a very large topic. I was trying to tell you that how the global infrastructure of AWS is large, and how what about their presence. Okay, but one thing is important to know for you. You please do understand. Whenever you create a virtual machine, whenever you create a virtual machine or EC2 instance, the first you select a region, and then you select a availability zone within the region in which you would create the instance. So we will learn all these concepts in AWS training. So we just further moving. So what you can do with AWS cloud computing, this is a very significant point. People say, okay, we are convinced that the cloud computing is okay, we are ready to use, but what exactly we can do? Number one, which is a significant part, you can create infrastructure. You can create your organization IT infrastructure using AWS cloud computing or AWS cloud platform. It means that can have the public network, private network, public servers, private servers, load balancer, auto scaling, lot other things are there. Storage is there, connectivity, the caching servers, monitoring services, everything you can do with the help of AWS cloud computing. So we'll discuss about in training how we can create a good infrastructure using best practices. Creating any type of implementation model. AWS does support to public, private, as well as hybrid model. AWS has large set of services for the various purposes. Various purposes I'm talking about, if you see the total number of services, I'm talking about major services. Those services are more than 140 services are there on AWS. AWS also has infrastructure platform and software as a service support services. In infrastructure, we can see VPC. In platform like Elastic Beanstalk. In software, we have a few more services. And if you're talking about the security, yes, AWS is quite mature. The people are providing enhanced security. So if you are using AWS environment or cloud computing environment, yeah, so don't worry about security. We have a number of security options, but you should know how to implement those securities on your AWS infrastructure. Later on, SQL and NoSQL database can be managed. So all these are the offerings of AWS Cloud Computing Platform. So whether you're working with SQL, NoSQL database, every important engine and the service you can find on AWS, data warehousing, we're dealing with like Redshift we have, machine learning and artificial coding. If you're interested in artificial intelligence coding, they will have they have the dedicated services, and they help you with the best practices and some of the code assistant programs for betterment, and a lot more other things are there we need to explore. So this is a very large platform. By the way, why AWS? I was talking about the AWS is providing the global infrastructure. This is the largest global infrastructure. By default, high availability and reliability over AWS services are available. Largest number of cloud services which supports to create infrastructure for development, to create and manage database, whether database are SQL, NoSQL, or data warehouses. Next is AWS is providing free tier account for an entire year. So this is a good thing, because you will have the platform to practice, and detailed with the updated AWS documents are available on AWS portal, which helps you to study about technology, and time to time they do update their documentation, right? AWS also provide, this is a major thing I'm just talking about here. AWS provides the AWS well-architected framework. This framework includes best industry practices. So they are just going to share the best practices among you people, so you can use those practices to implement better infrastructure and environment for your company or your project. AWS shares the best practices on their business AWS accounts. They provide you support to create the best possible solutions with the AWS cloud platform. So AWS, one more thing I need to add in last, AWS provides the global recognized certifications in various verticals. Means they're having the certifications in architect, in DevOps, SysOps. In addition, some specialization AWS certifications are also available. Almost 5 specialization certifications are available in AWS. Okay, now we just jump on the main agenda. So today we'll talk about what is AWS storages, then introduction with AWS S3, simple storage service. Then we'll take some lab activities. So here we go. The first of all, so this is the main topic. We are just starting here. Sorry. In AWS, a number of services are there for storages. You will see that S3, Glacier, EBS. EBS is an elastic block store, and EFS. I'll tell you what is S3, what is Glacier, what is EBS, and what is EFS. Very first of all, I'm taking just a minute. I'm just going to talk about EBS. Here, this is in center. This is your EC2 instance. This is a virtual machine. We usually create a virtual machine here, and every virtual machine has main 4 components. The first one is the image of operating system. We usually launch on this machine. So without operating system, no virtual machine can be completed. Second is the configuration of this machine. What kind of the configuration, how much CPU, RAM, and the compute resources are required for this machine. And third, which is not least, we cannot ignore, about the hard disk, and every machine must have a hard disk. So hard disk here is a storage. So we never call it as hard disk. We call it as EBS storage, or elastic block storage, or elastic block storage. This is block storage. So we connect this block storage with EC2 instance. So EBS is the storage in which you can install operating system, or EBS provides a block level storage of volumes for use with the EC2 instance. So EBS volumes acts as a hard disk with EC2 instances, and EBS volumes are highly available and reliable storage volume. It's mean if you have an EBS volume of a specific size or a certain size, and you are connected with EC2 instance, please forget about the redundancy of EBS volume, right? So we are not seeking the redundancy. We have not to manage the redundancy to maintain for this EBS. It is already there. It is inbuilt because we are working on AWS platform, and it can only be connected with EC2 instance. So if you're using EBS volume, the restriction is there. The EBS volume can only be connected with EC2 instance, and one instance can have multiple EBS volume. Okay, so this is the kind of a storage. So this was the first storage I was talking about. The next is EFS. You must be knowing about network attached storage. What are the network attached storage? So this is a common storage for your internal network computers or network nodes. So EFS provides actually the scalable file storage for use with the Amazon EC2. You can create an EFS, which is elastic file sharing. This is file system, and configure your instances to mount file system. Okay, it means this is a common storage. This is one kind of a storage. If you create and configure AWS EFS, this particular storage is a common for the number of instances within your AWS infrastructure or within your VPC. I'll tell you what is a VPC. VPC is a kind of an isolated network in your AWS environment. Correct? So you can use EFS file system as a common data source for workloads and applications running on multiple instances. Third is the Glacier. What is a Glacier? The Glacier is a place where you can store large amount of data. If you are just seeking any storage for archiving purpose, so the answer is a Glacier. The Glacier is an extremely low cost storage service that provides a durable storage with the security features for data archiving and backup. And with the Glacier, the customer can store their data, and it is a cost effective. So it means you can store data for months, years, or even for decades. The Glacier enables the customers to offload the administrative burdens of operating and scaling storages or stores to AWS. So they don't have to worry about the capacity planning, hardware provisioning, data replication, hardware failure detection and recovery, or time. It is not a time consuming even. It's very simple to manage. So Glacier is a place where you can store large amount of data if the data is not being frequently used. Did you get this? So this is a very low cost storage system in AWS. Next, we'll start with what is S3, the main topic of the day. The main topic of the day, so I'll start with this. S3 is a storage over the cloud and simple storage service. S3 stands for simple storage service. You can store and retrieve any amount of data and can be accessed from the internet. It is a reliable online storage which supports all types of content. S3 provides the developers access to the same highly scalable, fast, cheap, and reliable data storage infrastructure. So S3 is easy to manage. I'll tell you how the things are working here. So after this screen, we'll just jump on practicals and labs so that practically things you will learn. So using S3, you can create folders, which is known as bucket. Very, very important. Very, very important. You just you can give me a 1 minute here. I'll tell you the first of what are the S3 features. Okay. Yes. What are the features of S3? First of all, what you can do with S3. Number one, you can create buckets in S3. What are the buckets? The buckets are a root level of folders in simple storage service, and maximum 100 storages or the storage buckets you can create by default. If you want to create more than 100, yeah, definitely the option is available, but by default, maximum the 100 buckets can be created. I'll tell you how these things are basically in a hierarchical way is present. And S3 buckets are accessible through AWS services over the internet. Means you can access them through internet even. So you can manage S3 buckets properties. So S3 bucket properties means you can manage versioning. You can use these S3 buckets to host websites. If you are dealing with a static website hosting, you do not require any specific EC2 instance or production server here. Using S3 bucket, you can host a website. I'll tell you, this practically, I'll show you how you can host a website. And then data encryption does support here with S3, and you can manage the logs of S3, what's happening, who's updating information, who is downloading information of these files. So everything can be seen here. So next is it can manage S3 buckets and object permission. Means uh, you can allow access control list. You can allow or deny public access of objects. What are the objects? What are the objects here? Very important. The files we upload on S3 storage, we call them as objects. Okay, and the bucket is nothing. It's basically kind of a web folder. It's nothing but it's a kind of container, or you can say folder. So the root folder in S3 are known as buckets. By the next is S3 data lifecycle management. To control the cost for data storage, we can manage lifecycle data which is stored in buckets. For example, you can move data from one storage class to another storage class to save the cost of the data. So it means if you are storing data on S3, it pertains to a particular class when you load it. So that class is quite expensive because that class is responsible for infrequent access of your data. But if you are not frequently accessing your data, you can change the class of your storage. So you can change the class of your file basically. And if you are changing the storage class of your file, it's mean you are saving the cost. We can see practically. So this is the first lab I'm just going to just discuss with you the creating and managing S3 buckets. So in this scenario, I'll be creating a bucket, and we will learn how we can upload data, or how we can upload objects here. What is the object? I'll tell you practically. You'll see that my files are here object, and S3 is a object storage. Once again, I'll take a 2 minute time to explain once again. Technically, should be sound related to what is S3. S3 is an object storage, and maybe a new storage option for some organization, because you are normally not using flat system. But this S3 object level storage is a flat system. Flat system means it does support to almost every operating system and stores the data as objects. And each object consists of data, metadata, and unique identifier. So whatever object, whatever file you are uploading on S3, that file will have a unique identifier. So it means if you are using 10,000 files, or let's say 1 million files, so every file will have a unique identifier within the S3 storage, and this unique identifier will be unique on internet. Basically, I'm talking about. So AWS provides the object storage with S3, and with S3 you can store an almost limitless amount of data and scale easily. So there is no restriction how much data you can store on S3. Any amount of data. You just think any amount of data, because the space you are using, it's mean the maximum price you are paying to AWS, right? Okay. So I'm sorry, because I cannot take right now. I'm not taking any questions right now. Okay. So creating a bucket, first of all, I'm going back and I'm opening. This is AWS Management Console. On the left hand side, on the top, this is a black strip. On the left hand side, you see AWS logo here. If you click, you will reach on this AWS Management Console screen. This is the first screen. And if you want to just scroll down here, if you scroll down, you would see all the services are divided into groups. Let's say the compute is a group, and all these EC2, Lightsail, Lambda, Batch, Elastic Beanstalk, these all are the services. Okay, like containers, it does support to Docker and container and Kubernetes. So this container is a group. In storages, you can find S3 on the top. The storage is a group, and S3 EFX, S3 Glacier, Storage Gateway, and AWS Backup. All these are the services within storage group. So today we are taking S3. Either you can click on S3, or if you want to search through this particular search box, you can write it here S3. As you write S3, so you can find S3, click on S3. It will take time, and this is your S3 dashboard. These are in my account. My account actually is not new. So I'm not using any new account, and my account is quite old. Of course, it's a free tier account. This is not a professional account, but these are the buckets we have. And how many buckets we can create by default in my account? 100 buckets. So these are the buckets. Buckets. What are the buckets? Buckets, nothing are. These are the web folders, or you can say container, where you can store objects. Objects means files you can store within the buckets. Sorry, I'm telling you how you can create a bucket. Just a minute. I'll be Word. It's better if I just use a document to show you how the things are going on. I think the screen is clear to everyone. So creating the bucket, the first thing, bucket. What? The important thing is important the bucket name. The bucket is a global. The first of all, it's not a region specific, it's a global. So S3 bucket is global. What is the meaning of this? It means if you create a bucket in a North Virginia, you can access the same bucket through from Mumbai. So that limitation we don't have here. So that's why we are calling the bucket. S3 buckets are global, or S3 bucket is global. Second, I'm talking about the nomenclature, or about the naming convention. So here the S3 name should be unique. It should be unique throughout the world. Within the AWS environment, it should be unique within AWS environment. If somebody already used the name, let's say I used Cloud 2020, it means the same name cannot be used by any other person. Or let's say I used Synchron, like the Synchron 4809. This name cannot be used again. Clear? So I'm going to create a new bucket. The name of the bucket should be unique. Let's say I'm taking bucket Cognixia, and just I'm writing today's date. It should be unique, I think. The 14th April. 14th April. The name convention is very important, and this is a wrong name I'm giving here. I'm just demonstrating this is the wrong name because I'm using a capital letter here. So I think this won't accept here. And these are some restrictions. I'm removing all public access restrictions here, and I'm acknowledging that yes, I removed all the restrictions. So by default, it was safe. It was restricted. So I'm just removing the restriction to make content public so that you can access it. And this is the region. So in which particular region you are creating this bucket? So this is the region. So right now, by default, I was working in North Virginia. So, but if you see here on a black strip, you would say a global, because you are working in S3. You are working in an S3 environment. So that's why a specific region name is not coming here. You can find a global. But when you create a bucket here, it will ask you in which region it should be created. So let's say for me, the number of regions are there, but I'm okay with North Virginia. I'm using it, and just click. I hope that the name is unique. I know that this name is not technically correct, but I'm trying here. Will it create or not? No. Why it is not created? Because I'm using a capital A here. So instead of capital A, if I'm using small a, the same name will work here. Cognixia 14 April. Will it work? Perfect. It's working. Yeah. So can you see, this is Cognixia 14 April bucket. So this is the bucket you created in a North Virginia region. So this way, you see, you have a number of buckets here, and this is the region in which region this bucket you created, like destination CRR 32020. So this is in Mumbai. Few buckets are in Mumbai, few buckets are in North Virginia, few buckets are in Ohio region. So I'm using a different region to create a bucket. But maximum the total, the 100 buckets can be created by default. Is it clear? So this is basically the bucket. But within the bucket, if you click here, I'm clicking on the bucket. If you see, you will see there is no content within the bucket. So this bucket is totally blank. Is it clear? This bucket is totally blank. I don't find any object here. I don't find any file here. I miss objects means file. I don't see any file. Do you want to upload the file? Yes. So there is a button here, upload. on the left hand side. And these all like overview, properties, permission, management, access points, all these are the features you will see one by one. This topic is a huge, it's a large topic. Okay, so click on update, upload, and I'm uploading a bunch of files. I'm uploading a bunch of files here. Let me see. Uh, just, just let me see. I think I should upload the template of static website. So in one go, I can cover two labs here. Yeah. So I can see the static website template, and I'm selecting all the files and folders, and I do drag and drop here and open and upload. Simple. So you would see some activities are happening here, and in a few seconds, the entire template will be uploaded on this bucket, within the bucket, and the bucket name is Cognixia 14 April. Perfect. So this is the bucket you uploaded. Let's say, and I try to upload one file also, one picture file. I'll show you how the things will work. I'm just uploading a one picture file. File. Let me see. Do we have any picture file here? Don't worry. So I'm taking some text file. Let's say I'm taking a text file instead of picture file, and open it and upload it. So this is the file I uploaded. So the file name was the file1.txt. So if I click this file, basically I should not call it as a file. This is an object actually. In S3 we call it as object. If you click on this, so this is the URL of the object, and this URL is unique. If you want to access this particular object, you can use this URL. And why I call it as a flat system to this S3, because we are not specifically working on such a particular operating systems file system here. So we call it as a object level storage, where you can store any kind of a file, whether it is a music file, whether it is a movie file or program file, binary file, any sort of file you can store on S3, but technically we call it as object. The file is the object, and the file name is known as key. Like what was the file name? This object name was file1.txt. So this is the key of this object. Okay, and this is the URL. Right now, if I'm just copying and pasting, if I'm just copying and pasting this particular URL here, you would find that it is not accessible. This is not accessible. You can say that the XML file does not appear, or you cannot access it. You access denied message you can see. Really, you can also try if you want to try. If you're working on computers, you can use this link and see whether you're able to open it or not. Now, why I'm not able to open it? Because this object is not yet shared with public. So I need to make it public. So what should I do? There is this button here, make public. Either you can just apply from here. So this has been converted to public. Now it is publicly accessible. Or another method, you go back to bucket. So within the bucket, you can find objects here. This was the object, and the key name is the file1.txt. You go to action and make public. This is another way to make your object public. And click here, and the same, the object will not change. It will remain same. I'm just going here and opening a browser and hit enter. You would see that we can easily read the content of the file. Do you see? Can you see the content of the file now? Because this object has been shared. So it was really simple. It was really simple. Okay. So according to this, means can I create a bucket? Yes, I can create a bucket. How many buckets you can create? You can create maximum 100 buckets. But here, this was a bucket. I tell you once again. You go back. Go back. This is your S3, and within the this is the S3 dashboard. Within the S3 dashboard, you find 17 buckets are there. Right now, you have 17 buckets. And what was the name of the bucket you have right now? Please, this was Cognixia 14 April. So these are the buckets. But within the bucket, I'm just opening it. But within the bucket, if you want to create a further folder, so these folders are called as only folders. These are not buckets. The buckets are only root folders. If you are going back, these are the buckets. These are the buckets you created as a root folder, right, within the S3. But if you want to create a nested folder, so nested folder is known as folder. So nested folder cannot be called it as buckets here. So these all are the folders. So these folders you can create any number of folders you can create here, right? Now, let's say this is the index.html right now, and this index.html. So this is a basically uh, the template of static website. So I'm just going to tell you how you can publish a static website using S3 bucket. So I think the objective of this lab is completed. You created a S3 bucket. In last, we will delete. This is how we can delete and how we uploaded the file. This is okay. In next screen, you would see that is hosting of static website. In order to host a static website, static hosting static website. So first of all, you can use S3 buckets to host static website only static website only. If you have idea about what is a static website and what is a dynamic website normally connected with the database servers. So in a simple way, we cannot use S3 buckets to publish dynamic website. So static website by default definitely does support. Second, any programming language like Java, Node.js, Python, if your static website or website is using such kind of the languages, those kind of a website cannot be hosted on a S3. So definitely this is very simple. And one additional important point I need to add here, because once the website is uploaded, once the website is uploaded, you want to map that uploaded website with the domain name. Am I right? Uploaded site should be mapped with a domain name. Domain name, for example, let's say Cognixia classes.com. Let's say Cognixia classes.com. So means you want to open your website with a certain public domain name, right? So what I do suggest you people, because this domain name also is a unique and you are the owner of this domain, so better to create a bucket, create a bucket with the same your own domain name, right? Let's say I'm taking a cognitiaclasses.com. Can we create like this? Yes, definitely. I'm just going back and I'll show you. Create a bucket. You just using the bucket name cognitiaclasses.com. You're creating in North Virginia. You are removing all the restrictions because you want to access the content of this bucket publicly. You are acknowledged and create bucket. So once this has been created, yes, Cognixia classes. So this bucket is still blank. I'm taking everything from scratch. You need to upload a website template. So this is the website template. Choosing all the files, dragging and drop here. It's so very easy. I'm not using any EC2 instance, right? I'm not using any virtual machine to launch or to publish this particular static website. It means I'm saving money. I'm saving cost. And in free tier eligible or in free tier account, 5 GB space is absolutely free of cost within the S3 storage. So what I'm doing here, the first thing, go to the properties. Do you find the 5 tabs here? Overview, properties, permissions, management, access points. Here is the property tabs here. I click on this. As you click on this, you find a few cards here, like versioning, server access login, static website hosting. The third one, if you see the third one, right now for this particular bucket, so cognitiaclasses.com, for this particular bucket, static website hosting is disabled. Do you see? So by default, this feature is disabled, and I need to enable it. Once you enable it, you'll get a URL to access the website because you already uploaded the content of the website within the bucket. Click here, and this is the endpoint. Endpoint means URL, right? I'm just sharing among you people right now. It will not work. It will not work because a few more things I need to test. I already shared this endpoint or the URL of the website. Okay, so we have the 3 options here. The first is the disabled website hosting. So at present it is disabled. We have to use the first one. Use this bucket to host a website. I'm choosing first option here, and you need to mention here index document. So my index document is index.html file. And if you have any error document, you can also mention error document. But right now I do not have. I have only index.html. The only index.html is sufficient for the static website, and I'm saving the setting here. So once you save the setting, now the option instead of disabled, you can see the bucket hosting has been enabled. Under the static website hosting card, you can see the status has been changed. But still, that won't work. It's mean this URL will not work. Do you find? No, it is not working. Why it is not working? It is not working because we are just going back to overview, because the content or all these objects are not public, are not publicly accessible. So what we are going to do, we have to select all these objects and folders and go to action and make them public. As you click on make them public, it will take few seconds to make them public, and you find, yes, this has been public. I didn't see any message here. You should have seen the message here. It is successful, by the way. It's okay. I don't see any error here, right? So the task is successfully completed. So I'm using the same URL once again. I hit enter once again and see what happens. Perfect. If you are online and able to access this URL, you can use this URL to access the website. Perfect. Right now, I'm using this URL to open the website. If you want to open the website using public domain name, that can be done easily. But for that, you will use a Route 53 service. So this is a DNS service, DNS, AWS DNS service, AWS DNS service. Okay. So using Route 53, you can map the URL of static website with a public domain name using resource records. Right? So this is done. So it means if you are using Route 53, you can open this website using public domain. So this was the second exercise. So this is the thing. I think this is clear to everyone. Now we have the permission, and I'm just going to take one more a little lab, which is lab 3 for versioning. What is a versioning? What you can do with a versioning? Just give me a minute here. Because normally people ask means why you are using S3. So you must know what is the purpose of the S3, why people are using S3. So first of all, I'm talking about the S3 purposes. You know that you can create buckets and you can upload objects. Every object is a unique in it. You can use S3 bucket to publish a static website, or you can say static website hosting. What else? Backup and archiving of data. You can storage sharing. I shown you how you can share the storage object. You can use S3 for disaster recovery. Okay, and few more are there. We'll study in detail in training, but these are the main purpose. Now, I was talking about versioning. What you can do with the versioning? Versioning is a kind of a feature in S3. You can manage uh, different or the multiple variants of an object within the same bucket. See, I'm coming again here. I was talking of versioning. Okay, so S3 versioning features enables you to keep a multiple variants of an object within the same bucket, and it is very useful to preserve, retrieve, and restore each version of object stored within the S3 bucket. It also useful to recover object if object from bucket accidentally deleted. So you can recover the object. Object means file. And because we have the less time, what I'll do, I need to demonstrate the versioning activity. Demonstrating versioning activity. Please don't see spellings here. Activities or activity. Demonstrating. Okay. What I'm doing, I'll be uploading, just a minute. I'll be uploading a file. Let's say my file name is a file1, and it's a text file. And after a certain time, I'll be uploading the same file after some updation with the same name at the same place in the same bucket, right? So what I'm doing, or maybe my development team is writing a code, and the multiple people are working on a same file, and time to time, they people are uploading. Let's say at time 1, it was uploaded. At time 2, it was uploaded again with the same name on the same bucket, and the same file uploaded with after some changes third time. So all the if the versioning of the bucket is enabled, because by default the versioning is not enabled. If the versioning is enabled, it means all three variants of the same files are available with the same name in the same bucket, right? So let's see how we can do it. Yeah, going back, you just open. I'm going back to, let's say, to click on S3. My bucket name was Cognixia 14 April. No, the CogniciaClasses.com. CogniciaClasses.com. You select the bucket. You click on this and go to properties. You would see the first card. The first card is for versioning. And by default, the versioning is disabled. Means by default, it does not support to versioning. It does not maintain the multiple variants of the same file. So now it's time to enable it. You can enable it. The one more important point, once you enable it, you cannot disable it. You can only suspend this feature, but this feature cannot be disabled. Either you can enable it or suspend it. So I'm enabling it right now. Save. And once it is enabled for this particular bucket, it means this bucket is now supporting to versioning. We are going back. Let's say we have a file. Let's say I'm just going to create a file here. I'm just going to create a file. Do we have a file? Desktop. Can I see a file in desktop? Yes, I can see file1.txt. So I do upload, add, desktop, and file1.txt, open, upload. So this file has been uploaded. Yeah, this is the file. So right now we have a file. What I'm doing, I'm using my laptop to update the file. I'm using my laptop to update the file. Where's that file? Right? Yeah, I'm uploading it. I'm changing it. Let's say my webinar 2020 2020 April 14th. Okay, anything which can verify that you made some changes. Save it. So this has been saved. I just go to my bucket to upload the same file again. So add the file. I'm using the same file name. This is the file 1.txt. You upload it and upload it. You don't see actually any changes here. You find that the file is only one. So how we can see the two different variants of the file? If you click it here, you find this pop-up screen will appear, and in this screen you find the latest version option. You just open it, and you'll find you have the two versions of this file. You have the two variants of the file. So this is the older one, and this is the latest one. So it's been this file has two versions. Do you see? Yes. So this, because of lack of time, I took a very small means activities. However, it's quite big and very interesting. The storage solution. I'm talking about only Australia. So I think we should complete this. This was a demonstration. And Prerna, can you listen me?
Yes, I can, Sanjay.
Yeah, please take. Now you can take control.
Great. So, thank you so much, Sanjay. I still see there have been some of the questions, but I don't think we have left with any more time to get going with that. In case you are still wanting to deep dive into the overall course and technology, you can get going with our weekend batches. These are public batches that we do. And you can drop in a query. Our counselors will reach out to you and share more details, curriculum, and everything else about the training that we conduct on weekends. And at the end of this session, you'll have a survey. Please share your valuable feedback and inputs, and we'll try to have those inculcated further on. Thank you so much, and please be safe and take care.